So, Kay, as we are talking about sex drive this week and academic people who are very excited about coming up with a universal definition of what that means and whether you have one, Kay was just having one this week.
To give you an idea, if you look at my Kindle search, which, by the way, like, if I ever die, please burn my Kindle. Please,
actually,
I don't want the next person to discover that thing.
I have such a sadder story, but it is the side story of when my dad died, and we had to
I was not expecting your dad's death to get.
We had to empty his bedside table drawer before his wife came over to the house.
I do not want to go in either of my parents' bedside drawer.
Yeah. Let me just say that it was dark, and my dad's ex-wife, should be very thankful that we took care of this task for her.
Ugh. Okay.
Sorry, I just put the mood down. We can cut that.
So, I was searching, a specific dynamic that I find sexy, and I couldn't figure out how to get the dynamic, so I was like, age gap, daddy, boyfriend's daddy, dark, spice, novella. I didn't want a plot, and so it needed to be, novella. No more than 100 pages or so.
Exactly. We got to cut right to the meat and potatoes. So what is the name of the book that you ended up with, in case anyone is also interested in age gap, daddy, boyfriend?
Oh my gosh.
Dark
Unwrap
fantasies.
Me, and it was a Christmas-themed novella, and it was filthy.
Oh, no spoilers then, 'cause we gotta save it for the holiday smut episode coming soon.
Well, it was definitely the sex club that they went to. Don't worry, I read enough sexy Christmas, sexy smutty, whatever you want to use it. Yeah, Christmas books that there will be other ones. But in this one, it was like they met on a kinkier version of Bumble, and so they literally met at a sex club, and the daddy. The dad. You can only call him daddy. If you call him dad, then it's weird.
And it does get weird.
But he was very clearly meant to be Santa. He was wearing a red thing. And she kept on having to say yes, daddy.
I've been naughty.
Thank you, daddy.
Put me on your naughty list.
He's like, you're gonna wait. I'm gonna show you around this entire club before I let you finish your orgasm. And you're gonna be punished anytime that you beg me. And when he punished her, I was like, I didn't know I was into this. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I guess I am.
This is why it's good to try new things.
Yes. Sex drive high this week. Finally calmed down a little bit today.
Smutty Santa did it for you.
But on this episode, we're going to talk about, is sex drive a thing? Is sex drive the best
Can we have
pervert?
a universal definition? Is it more complicated than just, is your sex drive high or low? And this came up from a research article that we cited in the last episode. But then we were just very intrigued by this and thought we need to have an entire episode where we dig into this because I had questions.
Yes, and what I think we were also interested in is that women are often told, or, there's kind of a societal thing that women are low sex drive and that it's more the men who have the high sex drive and decide when sex is going to happen and all that. And what I really, really loved about this work by Frankenbach and colleagues was that they looked at all these different mammals who were not humans and rats, and they basically proved that there is no difference in gender, and females are more likely to masturbate. They're actually higher rates of masturbation, and that just brought me all these questions.
Other animals.
How does a rat masturbate?
I don't know if you want that to be in your search history after you already searched dark Santa daddy fantasies. It's just gonna get real messy in your cookies.
Then they're gonna be is she also interested in rat shifters?
She has a rat fetish. She's from Baltimore.
It's not just werewolves, it's rats too.
But this was specifically in animals that the females were masturbating more frequently.
Yes, and in humans, up until the point that that people recognize societal expectations of them and all that, women showed signs of being hornier. I think in younger kids, I don't know. And again, weird things come up in these studies.
Okay, after reading The Birds, the Bees, and the Elephant in the Room, I feel like I learned so much about. It was very Freudian. It's just kids like to touch themselves because it feels good, and you don't have to think too complicated about it.
Yeah, so we have a friend's daughter who likes to masturbate on her shame. On her car seat belt. She doesn't like it when like the drive ends because she wants to keep on rubbing herself against the belt. So it's not that, there's actual differences, but it's that society has told us that there are differences and that we're following them.
So, see, I feel like this is also something, the difference between actually reading the entire article, which Kay, the professional researcher, PhD, did read. And I was like, I'm just going to read some of the various, like, Psychology Today did a summary of it because that's the most my brain can currently handle. And this is something that I frequently see, though, that the like, pop culture magazine write-ups of research is just very, like, here's 3 takeaways that are very clickbaity. And so the headlines, if you just read the things related to it, are very, like, yes, men have a higher sex drive than women. It's confirmed because it's been defined. And then you look into the details, and I saw one fact that I did see was that still that there's so much diversity within each group, and that's something that we've come across multiple times, but, like, 1/3 of women had a higher sex drive, according to their definition, which we will get into, than the average man. And I was like, that's actually, like, kind of a lot. Like, to me, that isn't like, oh yeah, men so horny, women just, waiting, praying, just staring at the ceiling, thinking of England.
To my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so just on, like, so we have a definition. Sex drive is defined as a person's overall interest in sex, and it varies a bunch. It's influenced by biopsychs and sociological factors, and how I liked it being explained is that you can't really think of it as something comparable to hunger or sleep. If you go without sex, it's not going to make you want more sex. In fact, it just might make you not even want more sex. It's more complicated than that. So.
Yeah. I think that is a really helpful and interesting takeaway because that's how it gets portrayed a lot. And, I guess also just because of the environmental factors that impact it, I sometimes do feel like, especially for women who are impacted by all of the labor that they take on, that there is this idea of, like, okay, you have to, like, save up what libido you have for your, like, missionary Tuesdays or whatever. But I think that's like that was really
missionary
common.
Tuesdays aren't a thing.
No, it's from a TV show. I forget. I want to say it's maybe from The League or something. There was like that was like the running joke. The guy and his wife have like weekly scheduled missionary sex, and they call it, or it's like Missionary Wednesdays or something. It always made me laugh.
Yeah, I think that if you're not, it's like Maslow's hierarchies of needs, and like if you're not like well rested and fed, you're not going to be able to get to those like later on needs of being able to like enjoy sex, which makes you feel good, but it's not something that you're going to die
it's not
if
a
you
basic
don't have.
bodily, it's not at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of my question for you, having read this more, because I appreciate their thought behind having this universal definition of it and kind of a universal measuring stick, but do they get into the fact that, knowing that your sex drive is impacted by environmental factors and hormones and things like that, and how much, how stressed you are, do they talk about how on average women are doing more of just the total load of household in like a traditional partnered relationship, especially where there's kids involved, that women are doing much more household labor and therefore are much more likely to be the one who is tired?
So I think that it lightly mentioned it like in like something something to think about, but I think what it was more on is that women like self-report. So like if you're surveyed right now, like in your 30s or upper 20s, you're more likely to self-report a lower interest in sex and like lower desire for sex than men. And that you might be self-reporting because of societal expectations that like it's okay to have less, whereas men are like, I'm macho, like of course I want to have my wife all the time.
If I'm not trying to like go like every day, then there's something wrong with me, and I'm gonna go take some male enhancement drugs to make that happen.
When my partner doesn't give it to me, I go jack off. Yeah, like I'm manly, like a woman can't.
Yeah, and just the thing of women are more likely to underreport just because they have been conditioned more to not want to look like a slut and things like that. But I feel like that seems like a bit of a gap, that they're not also just like, the women are fucking tired, you know? And like, we should talk about that, because there's so much data about just the division of household responsibilities between men and women in hetero couples, and that has to,
and we're not having good sex. Like, that's on there. It's like, if you see how few people know where the clitoris is, it's like, yeah, incentive is part of there. And if an incentive is not that there's good sex when you have sex, then like, you're not going to be as interested in having sex.
Yeah. I guess I know one of the things that I read was that they were talking about, so they defined sex drive as a personality trait from what I saw. So they're talking about,
personally attacked by that. It's not a personality trait.
Right, and I like understood the thought behind it being that a personality trait is something that is just sort of relatively stable over your lifetime. So, for example, if you're an extrovert, then that means that generally over your lifetime you are more extroverted than the average person. But at any given time, you might feel more or less outgoing. So there might be cases where like an introverted person is very gregarious in certain situations. So I saw their point in that.
I guess I'm just curious now, because it's like, well, then to me it's like, do other traits go along with, like, do like openness and curiosity and all these different things kind of feed into like maybe having a better time during sex, so you're more likely to seek it out?
Though, I mean, this was one of the questions that I want to get into, is it seems like that makes it a very one axis scale of a personality trait. So yeah, how do other things factor in? We can discuss later what other axes might be if it's more than just like this one scale. I'm not a personality psychologist. I did take one class in undergrad about personality psychology.
That totally makes you equipped.
It is. I should basically
teach us all.
start my own YouTube PhD program to teach other people. So I guess my recollection is that it is like relatively unchanged over your life. Like, once you reach adulthood, your personality traits are more or less set. They can kind of like trend in one direction over your life, but they don't change a lot. And the definition of that might be changing. But I wonder about that with sex drive.
I just think about, and like, this is my very non-scientific thing, but I think about Brie from Desperate Housewives, and like, after her husband died, so she's like a very prim, proper, like Stepford wife style, you know, makes like the perfect pie and everything. Mm-hmm. And after her husband dies, when she's having like, her first, you know, hookup as a widow, she's like, oh my gosh, something just happened. I think I need to go to the hospital. Like, something really, really crazy just happened. Orgasm. She had her first ever orgasm. Yeah. And all of a sudden she was very, very interested in sex, because like she had never been pleasured before. So I don't know, like, when it comes to, I feel different ways about it, because part of me feels like, well, I'm not trying to say that if you have a low sex drive, like, you don't have these other cool traits, like, you know, I'm not trying to talk up as someone like, yeah, having no sex drive means that you have all these other awesome things, but I am trying to say, like, it feels like something that's like so dynamic and can hopefully change over your life.
I agree more than, and partly because of it's a little bit different. Like, I'm thinking for comparison of whether you're extroverted or introverted, and that is like, you wouldn't have a similar kind of situation where most people wouldn't have a similar kind of situation where you're just like, oh, I was never really around people who I really enjoyed until I was 50. But I could see a lot more situations where like you weren't really in a sexual situation that
you didn't read the book Unwrap Me, and then you read it and you're like, oh, I didn't know that it was possible to say yes.
Naughty Santa's
please, Daddy.
Then.
Another spank, Daddy.
Yeah, and I just feel like, I mean, I'm trying to think too of like, I obviously hormones. Yeah, I'm an extrovert. Obviously, I'm sure like my general hormonal state affects that, and if I am very tired, it affects the fact that I'm like, oh, I don't really like want to go out and do stuff. I'm less likely to make plans. But at my core, I'm still an extrovert, so I'm definitely like one of those people that I know, if I am so tired and I'm like been around, you know, doing stuff with kids all day, and somebody's like, oh, we should go out tonight and have plans, like come to this party. I feel so tired, but if I go, I'm like
energetic.
Then that gives me energy again, which I guess maybe sex is kind of the same way.
When I think about sex to sex drive, and I've been thinking about it more in preparing for this episode. There was the example given of if you're sitting on the couch surrounded by friends, eating pizza, watching a football game, even if you haven't worked out that day, you're probably not going to be like, oh wow, I'm super motivated to go work out. But if 3 people show up to your house all in workout gear and like, hey, like, we would love to do this exact workout, then like you will want to do it. And, you know, you might not crave a donut, but if you're at Krispy Kreme's and, like, you're smelling and you're watching those donuts get made, your mouth might start getting wet for a donut.
Okay,
and if
fair,
you read Unwrap Me, you might want to go down and tell your husband,
No,
you know,
I mean, I definitely agree. Okay,
girl.
I'm changing my opinion on that one. I think it is kind of one of those things, if you have enough energy to, like, muster the, like, okay, like, let me try to do, and not just like, oh, here, let me roll over and, like, close my eyes and think of England. Let me, like, try to, like, read something, watch something that will, like, get me in that headspace. I think that sometimes then it is, but it is definitely what you're saying. If you get up first thing and you have your sneakers and your workout clothes next to your bed, you're more likely to work out or whatever. So I guess if you have your Kindle and it's stocked with dirty Santa romances, then
you might just be going to your partner and be like, hey, do you have 10 to 20 minutes? And your partner might just say, like, this is the 20th time this week. Please use your vibrator.
Some people's partners are getting a little tired, Kay.
Yeah, it's too much of a good thing. It's all right.
Too much Santa.
Yeah.
So, and on the personality trait part, I think partly why that helped them kind of come to more of a definition around it is this idea that then with personality traits, it comes down to the ABCs, which is like affect or emotion. So that's how easily you are aroused by sexual stimuli. Then B, behavior or actions, the frequency of sex acts. And this one was interesting because they used masturbation as frequency of masturbation as the scale for this, because the researchers were thinking, well, like, sex obviously involves both
It relies
people,
on another person being interested
and
in
there is a lot more room for you to be like, oh, I don't want to have sex, but like my partner does, so I'm just going to do it to go along to get along. And masturbation is less likely. I thought
That's true.
the little dude, Dr. David Ludden, who I read in Psychology Today summarizing this, was like, no one's ever, like, been pressured into masturbating. Like, no one's masturbating for their partner. And I was like, you have missed a whole section of the internet, my friend.
Oh my gosh. And this book that I read, the title for it, it was insane. So he was an audiobook narrator, and he basically had her come to his recording studio while he was reading out loud a sexy scene, and the person was masturbating in it, and he's like, do exactly what she's doing. And then she's like, well, I don't have like a vibrator big enough, or, you know, an insert.
Sure.
And so he took an ornament off the Christmas tree.
Don't do that!
And then he had her put a condom around it, and then she fucked like the ornament with a condom around it.
Emergency room doctors everywhere are pleading with you not to stick a Christmas, or at least you put a condom on.
He was a paramedic, so he's like, don't go all the way. Stop there, baby. Be a good girl and stop there. So, like, but I was just like, the condom over the Christmas tree and the ornament. I was like, this book had me in different places, but right now I'm like, there is nothing happening down there.
I'm more worried about lacerations to her vagina than I am excited about whatever's happening. But
take no advice from us, but maybe take the advice of do not insert an ornament up your vagina.
Even with a condom, I just feel like there's too many ways for this to go wrong.
Especially not with a condom. Like, the ornament's not going to have STDs on it.
It's so easy. It's never been easier to buy a actual sex toy that was created for that purpose. They come in a box that's very discreetly marked. Anyway, so just saying, for this person, for somebody who is reviewing articles about sex drive on Psychology Today, I did feel like that was a very vanilla take. But okay. And then the third thing is the C in the ABCs is cognition or thoughts, which is how often you think about sex. This was the self-reported one that I also feel like, I mean, there's no good way, but I do have questions about this data point.
Like, I don't think I have like fleeting thoughts during the day. It's more that like I read so much, and like sometimes what I'm interested in reading is hornier stuff.
Yeah, I'm not somebody. I'm always
I
so interested, and I've heard that that's a BS statistic about like men thinking about sex every 6 seconds or whatever. Although it would explain why they're doing a terrible job running the country. I don't just like have random thoughts where I'm like, what if I was fucking somebody right now? And I'm like, is this happening to other people? I mean, yeah, like if presented with stimuli, I would respond to it, but that's more of like that affect emotion kind of piece. But I'm not just going around being like, dicks, dicks, dicks.
Yeah, I've never like been in like a enclosed space with a guy and been like, what if we were having sex right now? Like that's never
Be
been
like,
a thought.
I'm gonna like be staring at the bulge in his crotch and trying to gauge how big his dick is, which I feel like a lot, but that could be a gender difference on average. Obviously, not all men, not all women, because I do feel like a number of men that I've known are like very aware of women's breast size, you know, that you could like ask them like or they'll say something. I'm like, I don't think that I could have told you any of my friends' bra sizes unless I had like discussed this with them or they had like extremely one side or the other.
Whether nipples are showing somewhat, all that, they have like weird insight into, and it's like you don't have to look at that.
I know. I'm just like I'm looking at their faces like you're supposed to.
Yeah. What I did think was like interesting is that there's, I guess, like some light evidence that women actually like their sex drive and their interest in having sex like outside of just one partner is higher once they hit like their upper 20s or 30s, with part of that being that when like they're at their most fertile in their teens and early 20s, their bodies are actually choosier with like who they want to have sex with and when, because they want their offspring to be, you know, decent.
This is the evolutionary argument, and I read a bit about this, that some of the people who are like, oh yes, men have a higher sex drive, and here's why, it's evolutionary. I also think this appeals to people who just like to have things in neat boxes. But, you know, it's evolutionary because men can sow their wild oats wherever and can get multiple women pregnant at the same time. And, you know, women have to be choosier. You want to try to vet first whether it's a man who will stay around to help you raise the child before you let him get you pregnant. It's like a year plus long commitment to bearing that one man's child. So
maybe it's good I was off the market in my 30s, because I might have gone crazy. Yeah, I would have been going to sex clubs. Yeah,
you would have met that dirty Santa character.
Oh my gosh.
But I guess my question about this is that it doesn't seem like that's the whole story, because again, there's so much about sex that it is just for pleasure. And, you know, like the existence of the clitoris, which is just like pretty much entirely for sexual pleasure. It has not any reproductive purpose. And then all this interesting data about animals that like to beat it. You know, I think that there's more to it than that. And that's maybe where that like dirty 30s thing comes into play.
Part of me wonders, it's like, well, do younger women not know how to find the right fantasies? I don't know.
I do feel like for younger women, like you are, and maybe this is just me totally commentating with no research on the topic, but my sense is also that you do get more of just that sense of like, I'm gonna like what I like, and less conditioned by, you know, we've talked a lot in the past about that Christian upbringing kind of thing. So those of us who are brought up in stifling religious settings, it takes you at least a decade of being outside, for most of us, of being outside of that stifling religious setting to start to be like, oh yeah, maybe it's not like horrible and trashy to enjoy sex. So I wonder how much of it too is just maybe that we're all
totally socially okay
shaking off our cultural conditioning, and that takes a while, because that's coinciding with that whole timeline of like, in general, that you hear women saying as they get into their 30s and beyond, that you start to say like, oh, I'm not doing things just to please other people. Like, I'm not dressing just to attract other people. I'm dressing for myself. There's just seems like there's a lot of that timeline is when you start to recognize what you actually want and become like the main character in your own story.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think that like it's for the best that I'm partnered off in my 30s once I
before you got too slutty.
Yeah, I you know, I'm sure sex clubs would have been fun, but I'm also sure that
the only thing holding you back was your evolutionary need to assess whether a potential mate would stay around to raise your offspring.
Otherwise, I really
that was the only thing holding you back from the sex club.
I'm pretty sure. there's different ways to think about sexual desire, and I think, like, SJ will always go for Emily Nagoski. She's one fangirl. She's like your Lady Gaga. I read about a motivation.
She's more talented than Lady Gaga.
She's wonderful, and she also makes her worksheets like publicly available, which is so nice of her. So motivation incentive model, it says that, like, not only do you need to want sex, there needs to be an incentive. And by incentive for sex, it literally just means that, like, the sex has to be good. And so,
which is not the case for a lot of women.
Yeah, if you're sitting there with a man who hasn't figured out the clitoris yet, which is just like sadly the case. Give him a free
worksheet that has a diagram of where to find it.
You know, maybe come as you are, or core play by that guy Ian, so he gets out, you know, he can have his little wine to pair with your pussy.
Yeah. Whatever does it for you.
Yeah, that, like, the two need to be there. And I wonder what, like, the motivation incentive model, like, I think I've heard and you've heard this idea that, like, if you seriously don't want sex, you shouldn't have it, because if you do have it then you're actually telling your body, like, there's like low incentives to have sex.
This goes back to our 1970s Cosmo advice, Kay. Don't pity fuck.
Yeah, no pity fucks. Because you don't want your motivation incentive model to be off. You want it to be good. Or, you know.
That's what Cosmo said. Motivation incentive model. Yes, queen.
Yeah, go read Unwrap Me before your partner wants sex, and then you're going to be like, wow, I'm totally ready.
Okay, by the end of this episode, I too am going to have to go read Unwrapped Me, and I don't know that I'm gonna thank you for it.
It goes right into it. It will take you like an hour.
Oh, there we go.
I personally enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll be curious to see if other people like it. Anybody who's willing to admit that they read it, besides me, let me know if you liked it. But anyways, what I did think was interesting, because I feel like I hear this from guys. I don't feel like any woman is ever like, oh, I'm going without sex, so then, like, it feels so good when I finally have it. But have you heard guys say this? I feel like especially libertarian guys are like, oh, I'm going to go without sex for a week, and then it's going to be like...
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. It sounds kind of like the raw dogging flights kind of trend, that it's like you're training your body like some kind of ascetic monk. So yes, I have heard of men doing this, or like to purify themselves too. And I don't mean men who are religious, although of course that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to talk about, but it is more of like a bro thing of like you clear the mind by not masturbating.
Like a Carnegie or a Rockefeller said that like they did it like to make their minds like really focused on work and everything.
Yeah, exactly. You don't masturbate for a long time. There was a Seinfeld about that too.
Yeah.
Not that I'm up on my I'm not a hetero man born in the 80s, so I'm not up on my Seinfeld, but there was definitely a whole thing. And they were like trying to see who could go the longest without. But I will say for the 90s that they were sometimes ahead of their time. And it was the like Lilith Fair era, because Elaine did not. She was part of the contest too, and Elaine was not the first. She was I think Kramer was the first one out, and then Elaine was like the second one out.
Go Elaine.
Yeah, I feel totally like she's a very sexually liberated character, which the 90s was a great time, and then I feel like we kind of like went back a little bit at the turn of the millennium.
Yeah. So just so that you all know, like, going without it does not make it that, like, when you finally do get it, it's better or anything. If anything, like, going without it can just make it that, like,
I don't think there's any research showing that it clears your mind either, to be, like, withholding.
Mind clearing.
Almost the opposite. I feel like it seems like then you'd just be very distracted, but...
It's like saying, like, if you go, like, a week without exercising, when you finally exercise, it's going to be, like, great. It's like, no, that's just not
You're just
going
to be out of breath.
Yeah. There's this, like, labeled female sexual interest arousal disorder, and it's a lack of sexual interest arousal for at least 6 months that causes a person significant distress or worry as a result.
The person or the person's sexual partner?
I totally feel like
I'm feeling like most women getting diagnosed with this is that there's a male partner involved who's like, I think that you're not well.
Well, that's like, notice that like it's not just like a lack of sexual interest for 6 months, it's that it causes a person significant distress or worry that makes it like an actual disorder that can be diagnosed and treated. And I feel like there's just so much there that I don't want to say bothers me, but like it's fine to not be sexually interested in 6 months, but there's many, many reasons that can be the cause of that. than because there's any problem with the woman herself.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's such the default mode to be like, well, you better go get your junk checked out, lady.
No, guy,
instead
read
of like,
Unwrap
maybe
Me and be a sexy Santa.
What is this? Yes. What is the part about she needs an incentive? Like, you need to give her, there needs to be something in it for her.
Yeah, I feel like they should bring the partner in and be like, what are you doing to incentivize this behavior? What are you doing to help with her accelerators?
Why are you the problem?
Yeah. And then once we focus, if we completely solve you, if it's actually still a problem, then, I don't know. She still needs
well, right, and there are legitimate medical things that can interfere with it, so it's definitely worth having a conversation about it. But I would be genuinely curious the actual percentage of women who, you know, if you ask their male partner, would, you know, the male partner would say, oh, well, you know, there's something wrong with her, you know, she obviously is just somebody who has a really low sex drive. Even if he doesn't say there's something wrong with her, but if you're like, oh yes, she just has a low sex drive, I would truly wonder how much of that...
I'm sorry that you're bad at sex.
Yeah. How much of that is his problem? How much of that is just her natural innate personality trait of her sex drive, if that is indeed a thing? And how much of it is other environmental shit?
Not having, like, time to sleep and, you know, do the things that are important to you. If having a clean kitchen is important to you. Just all those little things getting done first.
So, Kay, because we are... experienced and professional researchers and total experts in the subject matter, I feel like we should leave listeners with some pro tips. So,
communication tips that I use for mismatched desires. I tell my partner frequently, get it together, you're so lucky to have me.
And he is.
Yeah.
So any man out there who has a female partner with a higher, the 1/3 of women who have a higher sex drive than the average man, if you're in the other direction, you should be so thankful because you have the other.
I'm a unicorn.
You are.
And then if you're on the other side of it, where your man has a higher sex drive, my extra expert opinion is to tell him to get better at sex. Just kidding.
And sometimes you might just need to masturbate to fill in some of the gaps.
Maybe
do some research for good smut on behalf of your partner.
Listen to Good Girls.
Resources for further reading.
Okay, so I have some really, really important,
some academic
evidence-based ones. So, Dashing All the Way. That is found on Kindle Unlimited, Dashing All the Way.
Also to be reviewed on an upcoming episode. All right, great.
By Chelsea Curto. Unwrap Me. That is a sexy Santa book.
30 times during this episode, so we know it's good.
Sexy. It might wait a week, so it's still a little bit of a surprise to me and reread. And then I weirdly found like this odd thing it's a scene from Eldridge, which is the second book in the Eating Woods trilogy. And what's kind of disturbing is that it wasn't actually like the main male lead and then the female leads sex scenes that did it for me. It was one. I don't know if I can admit this, but I will. I already admitted it to my partner. But it was one, the male lead was actually like captured by this like Amazon warrior woman who was like doing weird sexual shit to him, that I'm like, I guess I'm into that. That was what led me, because I was like, I would rather this dynamic is like men, women, just as like I'm the woman, I want these things done to me. So that was what led me to try to find it, and that's why I wanted this like daddy kings.
all right, yeah.
Yeah, so those are just, some, again, evidence-based resources for further reading that might fix your sex drive.
Peer-reviewed and highly recommended by the...
PhD prepared,
by Dr. K, sex expert. Awesome.
So to go back to some follow-ups that we have from last episode, some curiosity, what is Baltimore porn? We saw that Baltimore porn is one of the most popular things that women in Baltimore search.
Right, so we saw relative search terms by state, so that means what was the uniquely high search term in your state by women on Pornhub. We were a bit curious because we are high curiosity personality trait people, okay? Because Maryland specifically, where we live, the highest unique search term was Baltimore. There were a few other states that also had this. In Michigan, it was Detroit. In Philadelphia, or in Pennsylvania, it was Philly. So Baltimore was actually a bit unique, so I'll get to that, because it was more what you would think with Detroit and Philly, where it was just kind of location specific. The Detroit one was like Detroit Ebony Thought. Like, it was definitely like more along the ebony sex things. Philly had a bunch of different ones, but they were all, again, like, oh, like hot Philly chicks. West Philly dungeon porn came up. I didn't click on it because my computer is already polluted enough.
Subscribe.
I was like, I don't know what's happening in the cookies. I'm in on incognito mode, but I don't trust this.
Not the rat masturbation.
It's up there with rat masturbation that there are some secrets even for good girls that we're just going to leave in the cloud of mystery. Baltimore is unique because Baltimore is apparently, when I typed in that search term on Pornhub, it brought me to a very specific person over Baltimore who posts porn as a hot mom. And so I was like, is this just her name? Like,
I can't believe you found my account.
Choose this name? I start to watch it. Okay, I'm gonna try to play a little bit of this and see if we can pick this up, because I was like, oh, why did she choose Baltimore? And then I hear her open her mouth, and I'm like, this chick's from Baltimore.
How are you?
Well, I can't complain.
Oh, thank you. I was actually, since school's out and everything, I was going to come over and hang out with Jason. So, step in his room.
He's actually not here right now. So last week he started his tutoring. So he's been staying after school every day for like an hour or two.
He mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, come bug him later.
Okay, anyway, I hope that was enough for those. If you know, you know that chick had
Baltimore voice.
She's straight out of Baltimore. I tried searching for Clover Baltimore bio and got a bunch of stuff. Like, obviously it was just AI generated shit, but it seems like maybe she's 31. She's not that old, but I just feel like she's been around the block.
Living the porn
and she does all of these videos that are hot mom videos. And it's very, I'm guessing, filmed in a house in the Baltimore area. So they proceed to go into the hot tub, and she gives the guy a blowjob, and it's first-person camera work where he's just holding an iPhone, tilted down, watching her suck his dick in an inflatable hot tub, like the kind that you can buy from Costco on Black Friday.
This is so Baltimore.
It's so Baltimore. I love it. So, new subscriber. Clover Baltimore, if you want to be on our show, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, and we can even do it in the inflatable hot club. I mean, maybe it's a club too.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that she's like out in Middle River or something. By the looks of this house, she's not a city dweller like us. She's somewhere coastal Pasadena, maybe. I don't know. I'm Glen Burnie.
With the Costco inflatable hot tub.
Yeah,
Clover,
she's got to be close to the Costco in Glen Burnie to get her inflatable hot tub, so that she can replace it anytime that they get a little too busy in the hot tub and accidentally puncture it with their Christmas ornaments.
Go with Clover.
Yeah.
And we also, when we were looking at like the country by country thing, we saw that of like all the countries, people in Germany and France are most likely to search for porn with like themselves. It's like French porn, German porn, which I like how it just like, you know, sometimes like narratives just fit. They continue on.
It did. Oh, what was the Philippines one? Because I feel like that really fit too.
Oh my gosh, it was like romantic love.
Yeah, it was like
the scenes.
couples. It was like couples in real life or something like that. Like verified couples. I think that's what it was. And I'm like, Philippines, you just continue to be the sweetest, happiest
even in
country.
like your private incognito browser searches.
You're like, let me just see a true love story of a married couple that has a great sex life.
Yes. So we hope that your drive stays up. Consider using your, I don't know if this works, but your drive to drop us a follow or a like, because those are appreciated.
When you're feeling horny, be sure to hop on and review us.
Yeah, I meant like drive to show, I don't know, appreciation to the Good Girls podcast.
Whichever drive
you all.
helps motivate you.
We're going to appreciate you.